something from around the world. Yeah, a couple of examples how iconic DooH can look like.
So some of you may have seen this map. We put it already in the yearbook. These are some of the iconic things. It's obviously not everything. The list is much larger, but these are some unique ones which we believe, and some of them even marketed together. So obviously we have in Vegas, we have stuff in Los Angeles, the Moxie here, which is quite famous, and Dallas, the AT&T district. Obviously New York City, which is core of everything. London Piccadilly Circus, which is the most prominent one in Europe. We have Burj Khalifa, the tallest media facade in the world. We have Beijing, we have Seoul, the famous COEX atrium. We have Tokyo, some stuff, in Hong Kong. So there's lots of, and Singapore down there, obviously. So there's a lot of stuff to see. What they all have in common, they're all iconic. They're all, they're really famous for the city. People are taking photos of them. They're taking selfies, and we just want to, show you some of the highlights.
Sorry, one thing. Nice part of our job is that we have seen almost all of them in real life.
So that's true. Most of the video I took with my phone. So this was 2 weeks ago in Seoul, and I liked it so much because we all talk about forced perspective, and everyone talks about angled LEDs, but this is a flat one. And you can see how great the effect is if you know how to do it. I mean, you all know the trick. It's a virtual frame around it. And we will also have it on our YouTube site, so you can also download it there afterwards. But it's just a great effect, isn't it? On a plain LED. And to be honest, it's a multi-purpose LED. So they use it, you see on the left, on the right, also for standard digital out of home. But from time to time, as you have a high dwell time, it's right next to the gates. And it really plays around. You always have this, this space which turns around, and just, with these gangways which get out and which come out towards you and the plane. And I think it's done really, really nicely on a plain LED. So you can basically show this on any LED, if the resolution is right. Just playing around with it. So forced perspective is here to go everywhere. And that's the cool message. It's a really long video. See now it's retracting. And what's also really nice, once this film is over, they take this architecture here exactly and have a virtual wall. So it looks like everything is just one, and then it opens up again, and then you have the whole LED thing. I think it's coming now. Well, okay, good. It's Korea. That's another one. That's the most famous shopping center, probably Sanlitun in Beijing. We had our conference there 3 weeks ago. And what's so cool about it, it's that it's an angled one, but you see here the ceiling. So they have this big LED here in front, and then they also have the ceiling. And they're telling stories across the whole thing. So not only the plain LED, but also, people walk down there. And we also have the big video, on the website. But it's done really, really nicely. And it's very popular in China. I mean, in China, basically every city has it. But again, it looks great even on a plain one. But obviously the story is great because you walk in there and it's really immersive experience. And obviously, they use it for standard content advertisement as well for these, animated things. But it looks really, really nice. That's also in Seoul. That's the main digital out of home at the Seoul airport. The main departure hall of Terminal 2, I think that's the terminal Korean Airlines not flying, so this was Lufthansa. But it's the main international terminal, and they have this huge totem. And it's quite interesting because most of the airports, the digital out of home screens are, managed by JCDecaux and some of the big guys. This is a local Korean company, and they have some campaigns there, some really cool ones. But this is an interstitial, this is something they use, and you see this plane flying around the world, and you see the pyramids and everything. So these are all, locations you can fly to. It's done quite nicely. It's even cooler. They had it in London a few months ago, where you have live data, so you could really see the flight data and everything. Obviously, it was animated, but it's quite nice. So you see it, and it's very visually appealing.
And there's actually something very similar here in the satellite of Terminal 2 in Munich. I mean, they also show the different destinations.
That's true. That's true. But it's video. It's static there. It's not really dynamic. But many airports have it. But that's Paris now. So it's done quite nicely. And you can stand there for a few hours and look at it. Well, this is Piccadilly Circus. Probably no words needed for that. This is really famous, and it's the most iconic in Europe by far. You have seen hundreds of campaigns there. This one is really nice. The biggest challenge I see, if you see stuff on the internet, most of it is, it's not the real footage, it's just, the great stuff which comes right straight from the studio. So this one, I'm not 100% sure if it's really, a real video or just the animation. So this is in Firenze, in Italy. This is a tunnel under the railway station. I think it was done by M-Cube. And this is really nice because it plays with this space, and it's like an aquarium. You walk through there, and they make really use of this really dark, underpass under the railway station. And people like it. They spend time there, and they really change the situation from a dark place you don't want to spend a single second to something which is experiential, and you create stories there. And I know even some campaigns here, but obviously only a few of them because it's quite expensive to create special content for this one. But this was a special promotion by Paramount when they entered the European market. I'm not sure most of these streaming services left the market again because it's not really it's not very good business case. But this is a really, really nice one. LA, Stefan, we went there a year ago.
Yeah, and there are actually two ones right next to each other. One is the probably more famous Moxie Hotel one you see in the background. And this is quite interesting because there are several LED parts or frames, and the campaigns really span across all three LED walls here. And yeah, in this case, Nike, very nicely done.
This is the other one? That's the Moxie?
That's the Moxie one, curved one, and here again, obviously, forced perspective effects. And what's interesting, traffic-wise, it's right across the street from LA Convention Center, so you probably get more like peak traffic for these things than constant traffic in downtown LA.
I'm always surprised how bad some of the animations are, and that big brands like Porsche, sign that off. Yes, we all know it has one sweet spot, but still, even if you're right on the sweet spot, this is Porsche. They're so strict usually, with all their PR guidelines, but this one is for me more medicore, so I don't think it's a really good one. But they showed it there, so we saw it. It was during LA Car Show. That's the reason why they only had car advertisements there. Well, you all know this one, obviously. As I mentioned before, it's very, very disappointing when you're close by. It's cool when you're further away. They told us the sweet spot is somewhere like 300-400 meters away, more on the main strip. Then looks cool, but then you don't see the whole thing. Yeah, it's fascinating. There are hundreds of videos out there. And it's probably the coolest digital of-home experience which has ever been built. And I'm not sure if they said it yesterday, but they're close in signing a second city. And it will be somewhere in the desert. So much to say. Because they tried in London, in the Western world, you don't get any regulations don't allow that, because of power consumption and light pollution, everything. So it will be a city somewhere in the desert, and it's probably a kingdom. I don't know, but I would assume so. Good. These are, great animations. You've seen it during Formula 1 races, during CES, all the shows. I know, it's 450,000, obviously, per day. And our team, our newsroom team, did an interview with one of the agencies who are creating this content, and they really built a small-scale thing in their studio to really, have the effects and everything. So this is something which is quite interesting, and that's the mini launch, the mini country launch in the US. And one more, because it's so nice and it's so inspiring, and we believe, it's the right thing, to start the day 2 of DSS. This is really, this is the power of CGI. This is a big Google Cloud launch. I think it was during CES. And this is just fascinating how you can play with it. It looks a little bit like familiar digital artist, but it's done really, really nicely. And if you fly around, and I think this is also a real video. As I mentioned before, most of the stuff is CGI, but this is, even the video, so this looks really, really nice. Good. This is one, to be honest, I just discovered 2 weeks ago when I was in Hong Kong. That's the M+ Art Museum, and this is typical. It's not a digital out of home. It's a media architecture. It's a media facade, but it's fascinating because it's so huge. I don't know. It's like 20 stories high or so, and you see it from across the bay. And it's fascinating because it's non-commercial. It's just video art. And when the sun sets, and you see the skyline of Hong Kong, it's really, really cool. And you can stand there for hours and watch it. It doesn't need any sound. That's really, really cool. So I really like it, and it's, as you can see, it's not about the resolution. It's really about, you know, having the whole cityscape and having some dynamic parts there. And I'm a big fan of that. I haven't read it before, so I was really surprised when I saw it in the evening. So that's really, really nice. You all know that that's coax. We have hundreds of videos also there, a lot of automotive. For me, this is probably the most commercialized for many reasons. Because they have standard advertisement there, lots of standard stuff, but also, you know, there's 3D there, the 3D art, and it's always booked. So you almost never see any, you know, fillers or so. So throughout the year, whenever, I mean, I'm not there that often there, but whenever there, it's just you see it. It's fully booked with advertisement, and it's so popular that the city of Seoul now decided, because it's in Gangnam, that's the main crossing, and they now decided to have 3 more of these special regulated areas within Seoul, where they put up to 40 different LEDs. And what's so fascinating, similar to Times Square, it's not that everything is owned and operated by one company, but, you know, they just, you know, loosen the regulations so that all the site owners with their buildings, you know, can place LEDs on there. And I'm sure you will see a lot of more of the angled ones and the massive LED stuff, but that's really nice. Hong Kong, I'm sure you've seen that. And last but not least, also Hong Kong, that's the Sogo, that was the largest LED in Asia for many years. And what's so fascinating, this is already 8 years old or so, and it's quite on Causeway Bay. But fascinating, it adopts the brightness, and they're really proud of this one. And they started already 8 years ago. It's a Mitsubishi one, so you see how old that is, because I'm not sure if they're still doing that. But they also have sound, and the sound that's very unusual. The sound changes throughout the day, and they have some microphones, so they check what this general sound level is, and then they adapt it to the traffic. It's big. You don't have much space really to take a photo, so it's always a question. You know, it really doesn't really make sense to put up such huge LEDs. You know, if you don't have enough space to look at it. But this is Hong Kong. That's okay. That's cool.